Good morning. My name is Rita. I am 65 years old. And 26 years ago I knew to be affected by alkaptonuria, AKU. That was the first discovered rare disease. The diagnosis was made by Dr. Bio, Lyonnais Hospital, France, who helped me to treat the severe pain in my back and encouraged me to live together the increasing disability. For many years my life passed away almost normally. My aspect did not reveal my illness, although I have lost many centimeters of height. And I underwent accidents and operations, such as the break of meniscus at both knees, the spontaneous break of rotulian tendon, the arm fracture for an inexplicable fall, the thyroid removal, and the operation of hiatus hernia. My situation worsened after my 58th year of age, following the prosthesis implantation at both hips, 3 fractured ribs for a spontaneous fall, heart surgery for aortic valve substitution, a knee prosthesis operation and a severe osteoporosis. I shall never walk again without crutches. Dark spots appeared on my face. My jawbone and my ears are aching. I know you young AKU colleagues not end up like me. Now care for AKU is already being tested in Europe. I wish to thank the group of senior researchers on behalf of us all. They are carrying on their scientific research that began in Florence in the mid-90s by Professor Zamarchi, Mayor Hospital. He contacted me to ask my family to donate their DNA in order to undertake the study on H.G.T gene mutation. We all accepted, I and my husband, my children, my parents, my 9 brothers and sisters, but also the grandchildren, uncles and cousins. Doctors, I address a counsel and an appeal. During a visit to a AKU patient, to get an overall picture of health situation of your bulky patient, please, stop to be irritated when he/she says you something that you do not know, and listen carefully. We AKU people need so many specialists because our disease is very complicated. It works quietly for many years. You do not know it, but in the meantime slowly it wears you down. It attacks your skeletal structure, consumes the intervertebral disc, by bringing more and more vertebrae to each other, chest to the pelvis, neck to shoulders, and all this gives us a lot of physical pain. It changes for the worse even our appearance, giving us a great sorrow. At the same time also our internal organs slowly approach each other, and compress to the point that may be boredom with one another. The stomach enters the esophagus causing a continuous reflux, kidneys are crushed, the bladder is lowered, the neck shortens compressing the thyroid and deflecting the trachea. Kyphosis is more and more developed, and so on. All this compels us to consult a number of specialists, orthopedist, gastroenterologist, internist, neurologist, cardiologist and so on. Unfortunately, and I hate to say it, in my experience made over the years, I have found that many doctors pretend to know the disease, and when I gave them some input I had to sell their reaction. Between indifference and intolerance, rarely I heard them to say, "Sorry, but I do not know what is alkaptonuria. See you later. I shall read further information." I must admit, however, that in the last few years something is changing, although it is still hard to be listened. And I must insist to force them to pay more attention. They all tend to say that our problems are common to many other people, and that the medicines they prescribe you are always well tolerated, and do not interfere with what already you assume. I am not a doctor and I cannot know whether this is true. But sometimes my doctor this problem made me see. Although he says that I'm forced to take those medicines. What about the doctors who make up the Commission of Civil Disability? From my experience, I conclude that for them, inability in performing daily actions means being completely locked out of a wheelchair. If you walk with two crutches, but you cannot take a shower by yourself, if you cannot get a pair of pants, a pair of socks and a pair of trousers, because your spine is too rigid, and you cannot stretch your arms, so you cannot reach your feet, and can neither wash or comb your hair. Well, for them these do not fall between the daily actions. They have denied me the accompaniment that I asked last year. Having a disability of 100%, having informed them of all these problems, just as I had done in a previous visit, but nothing to do. They read only my medical documents, never visited me, and continued to write, as they do for 15 years, that my illness is ankylosing spondylosis, without further investigations. I must say that there is some distraction on information also. I recently had to undergo a neurological examination. The neurologist was amazed that I had not the exemption for drugs and C-band, as fluimacil and Vyvanse, as provided for 10 years by an act of the Tuscany region for rare diseases. The last bitter reflection regards social relations, but only to detect the isolation in which we find ourselves, when we are no longer independent. Slowly, friends move away and sometimes even relatives. Nobody seems to be more willing to make a visit, especially on holidays. They are increasingly resorting to ridiculous excuses that sometimes even offend your intelligence, as if not having legs or arms means not having even more head. I am lucky to have a good husband and two affectionate children, who follow me with special love. I wish to thank them in a special way, and I wish all rare disease patients can receive by their relatives the same serenity and the same love that I have. Thank you.